This is William Ng at ThomasNet News Machining Journal, and we're here at IMTS 2012 in Chicago. And here today is Francois Gau, Director of Strategic Marketing for Kennametal. And we are going to talk about the presentation that you're giving later today, which is about global megatrends, megatrends to solutions, turning change into opportunity. So Francois, can you tell us the three megatrends that you're seeing?
Well, thank you very much for having us today. This is great. Thank you for the audience participation. This afternoon, I will present how to turn change into opportunity, meaning the only constant we see out there is change. So how does manufacturing addresses the opportunities that's going to come forefront using what we call megatrends, things that are happening in front of us that will impact manufacturing, things like talent erosion, the lack of manufacturing skill. And what I'm going to present this afternoon around that particular trend is the demographic component, meaning the less people, and the second compounded effect, less interest in working into manufacturing jobs. So we got to find ways to recruit people to come work into manufacturing. The second megatrend I'm going to talk about is the complexity of manufacturing. It's becoming ever more complex, and the machinery and the tools and software that are being proposed by vendors, partners, and other constituents in the supply chain are becoming so complicated that we got to find a better way as an industry to integrate them, to work together, to give you guys in the shop floor the productivity you need. The third megatrend I'm going to talk about is this constant need for productivity, and why is it that we need to constantly improve upon the ways we do things. So it does create the future for manufacturing in North America, and we can grow our presence. It's also applicable worldwide. So I'm tuning my presentation this afternoon to the American market, but it's with a global view as well.
Fantastic. There definitely has been a lot of talk about the skilled labor shortage and the difficulty among manufacturers to find talent and to find the right people to operate the machinery and also engineer innovations and new solutions. From your perspective, how big a challenge is it now, and what are some of the solutions that manufacturers must come up with?
Well, thanks for bringing the subject up. The findings when we did the survey with our customers is that there's a 90+% finding that it's difficult and extremely difficult to find the right talent to perform the jobs of manufacturing. And we heard some reports, and AMT has been formidable in gathering this report. There's hundreds of thousands of unfilled jobs here in North America. So poses the question really, and I'm going to talk about it this afternoon in my presentation. I looked at it from two different lenses. One is the pure demographic. So here in North America, according to research data from Census Bureau, what we call the Generation Y, right? People that are between 30 and 45 years of age right now. There is simply less of them, 11% actually, if you look at the Census Bureau, than the generation before the Gen X, as we call it, actually is retiring at the rate of about 1 every 8 minutes. So if you factor that, and you got to replace that talent, but you got a pool that's 11% short from the previous generation. So there is a generational gap. The second element is, for years, manufacturing hasn't been seen as an attractive place to go work into. So we have to create means for the academic, the institutions, and the firms like Kennametal and our customers to make manufacturing cooler. It's a place we want to go work into. It's actually kind of cool to work in manufacturing today. You're operating very sophisticated equipment. You're playing with a lot of software. It's not the way it used to be. right? So we got to spread the message and entice the people to come work in manufacturing. As a matter of fact, Kennametal was involved with lots of colleges and communities to bring the attention to the youngsters to come work for firms like us.
And that is truly a great point. I've heard from a lot of places and a lot of people saying, you know, there's a sort of a image problem with manufacturing, and you know, there's this preconceived notion that the youngsters today, you know, think that you know, things are made in a very dirty place. And,
Absolutely.
But the reality is that you know, today's you know, plants and factories are very clean, high tech, and some of them are even clean rooms. You know, we have to get down to the academic level and start there with the education process with today's and you know, future generations.
Right. So this afternoon on Trend 1, which is talent, I'm going to issue a call to the industry to do their part. Everybody can do its part. It's just not one person's job, right? We all have to kind of recruit people and make them come and work with us.
Great. And can you tell us a little bit more about Kennametal's role, you know, with your you know, community activities in trying to promote manufacturing?
Absolutely. We work with local community college in the area where we have facilities and plants and workshops. And for instance, in the area where we are in Pittsburgh, near Pittsburgh, we work with local community college, and we bring people like part students come work with us and learn the tricks, and that was actually a very successful program this year.
Sounds good. Are they just introductory initiatives, or are they internships?
It's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both?
Yes.
Great. So the second point that you made was about the challenge of you know, manufacturing being more complex and more complicated. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, again, when we polled our customers at events like IMTS, and I'm going to ask the same question this afternoon to the audience, do you believe the future materials, the future component will be more difficult to machine? And the resounding answer is yes. There's multiple reasons for that. One is, if you go down into the why is such a thing going to happen, you have to understand we're living in a world that I call mass customization. So you want to drive a different car than your neighbor, even though it's the same engine. You want to have a different product for your needs, right? In the medical world, your dental implant will be different than some others. So everything is becoming mass customized. So I talk about that in terms of the materials of the past, which had maybe 4 or 5 distinct classes of material, non-ferrous, iron, steels, and so forth, are becoming, in my perspective and that of the firm I represent, an infinity of alloys that we have to deal with. And it's going to become a lot more complicated for embedded manufacturers and aspiring manufacturers to make sense on how to deal with the manufacturing of this infinity of what we would call grade of materials. That's one. Two, the machines themselves have grown up in complexity to a point that's mind-boggling. So for instance, back in the years, you used a Bridgeport machine, just to name a brand, right, that everybody kind of understand. It was manual. You could listen, you could smell, you could feel what was happening. It was an art. It was a craftsman that used to machine these components using semi-manual operations. Today, you'll find dozens of simultaneous axes, machines, and I don't know about you guys, but I used to learn X and Y and Z plus maybe the time domain, but 82 simultaneous axes of motion in a machine, I cannot represent what it means. So this has become extremely complicated. So to make use of those complicated machines, you need to have sophisticated software. You need to have sophisticated engineer. And it has become its own little, microcosm of little pieces that don't seem to interact very well together. So the call of action this afternoon when I would talk to the audience would be, go find a partner that can bring all those little pieces together for you. That's going to be the way to productivity. Amazingly, one of the machine tool builders that we tend to work with talked about the fact that we don't use all of what's available in the machine. So for instance, similar to what we do at home and or at work, when I use a computer, I know I'm not using more than 10% of its capability. I'm just doing emails, I'm going on the web, and I'm producing an Excel spreadsheet or PowerPoint. Most of the machine power is unused. It's the same with the machining as we know it today. So how do we find a way to bring all those little pieces of productivity enhancement from a tool, from a software, from a machine, a control, a presetter? How do we bring all those powers together? That's going to be the challenge for the future for our world and remaining productive. These are the primary two thoughts I'm going to bring over this afternoon.
Great. It definitely sounds like a challenge.
Right.
And you already mentioned productivity.
Yes.
And these are all obviously interrelated. But maybe you can expand on this productivity portion of the equation.
Well, it's kind of like bringing those two pieces of the talent shortage and the increasing complexity of the machinery in light of the productivity requirement we see out there. So to remain competitive, the only way forward is to find ways to do better with less, right? So there is not an infinite amount of resources available to us. There is more people living on planet Earth. We have to be more sustainable. So how do you bring all those three constituents together to be more productive and then earn more money so you can invest into more technology? So the whole idea is, how do you train your people, make your technology more seamless to use, right? So that you can do more with less. What's happening then if you're a manufacturer, job shop, or a large firm? You're gonna end up creating a lot of cash, a lot of profits, which allows you then to reinvest into your business. So that's the element of productivity that I will talk about this afternoon. How do you take advantage of those two trends, technology and talent, through the form of partnership with the right vendors to help you guys go and grow your business and acquire more technology as you go?
Fantastic. So the sort of equation is talent plus finding the right partners and maximizing the potential of your technology and equipment equals productivity.
That is correct.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Thank you, Francois.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. And again, this is ThomasNet Machining Journal here at IMTS 2012. I'm here with Francois Gau of Kennametal, who's been gracious enough to talk with us. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Will. Appreciate it.